next fight is going to hopefully be an epic one. These two absolutely would hate each other in the world of Warhammer 40K. So we have Abaddon the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos, over 10,000 years old, fought in the Horus Heresy, Siege of Terra, crazy. High Marshall Helbrecht of the Black Templar is the successor chapter of the Imperial Fists, who kind of still holds strong to that original Crusader element of Rogel Dorn, their Primarch and Gene Father. Helbrecht hates anything that would be against the Emperor, and Abaddon is exactly that. So it's going to be a fantastic fight. They both have some good range. If Abaddon gets into hand-to-hand combat and has the initiative, very good chance that he could kill Helbrecht outright. But Helbrecht as well, his sword is fantastic, and he's a master swordsman too. So I think it's going to be a very good scrap. We're going to move over to the dice tray here as per the alphabet. So Abaddon is going to be rolling first, and then High Marshall Helbrecht, and we're going to see who rolls the highest, and from that, where they will be set up on the table, and also whoever rolls the highest will be moving first. So let's get this one started. Very excited. First roll of the game here, Abaddon versus Helbrecht. Abaddon rolling first is a 2. Helbrecht, it is a 4. Helbrecht will be set up on the table first. I'm going to just step back here, strategize a bit, see where that would be best for him. And then from there, we will see how this fight goes. Models have been set up, and I've done the same strategy I did with Marnius last time, who won the roll in the previous fight. So I have High Marshall Helbrecht here, a little bit more cover closer. If you can get behind that tower again, it's going to help out. Abaddon over here, a little bit more open space. They both have 24-inch shoots. Abaddon, I believe, has more attacks, yet with the Talon of Horus, than with High Marshall Helbrecht's Ferocity. Abaddon actually moves slower though, so he moves 5 inches where Helbrecht moves 6. So I'm going to see if I can use that to my advantage and get this going. So let's start it up. We're going to move over to Helbrecht for his movement. So same as last time, we have our Chaos model moving a little bit slower. So here we go. There's a lot of terrain here, and I think I'm going to try to follow that same strategy, but the big thing is staying away from Abaddon's hand-to-hand, unless I can definitely get the initiative. So I don't want to have him jump on top of Helbrecht right away. And Abaddon's going to come out. He's also going towards that tower again. That's going to be a pivotal piece of terrain to keep everybody protected. Just to show you guys that 24-inch on the new table. So we had 18 last time, so just across the tower here. Helbrecht actually has Abaddon in range right now, but that tower is blocking line of sight. I'm just going to double check. They don't have the ability to, ignore cover or have a torrent weapon, so they have to wait until they're actually in line of sight to be able to hit the other model. All right, so to get this first shoot, I'm actually going to move Helbrecht out. I think it's going to be very important that he does that and hopefully start to wound Abaddon a little bit, which means if it is in hand-to-hand combat later, then he can deal some damage. So he's just kind of peeled around the tower. I'm changing things up a little bit here because I want to make sure I can get these shots on. So this is 24 inches with Ferocity. Abaddon's definitely in range. The thing is, Helbrecht is also in range of Abaddon. So we're going to see what happens there. I'm going to head over to the dice tray. We're going to get rolling for Helbrecht's weapon, Ferocity. And let's see what it can do to Abaddon. This is High Marshall Helbrecht's first shoot. He is firing with Ferocity, 24 inches, 2 attacks. It is a combi weapon, Bolter and Melta. It is hitting on a 2+ with a strength 5. So here we go. So he did not get one. It is not twin link. There's nothing that can help him there. It is strength 5 versus toughness 5, so this is going to be a 4 to wound. Got it. That's good. So he has 1 wound through. Abaddon is going to have to make a 3+ save, so he usually has a 2+. It is a -1 to AP with this weapon, so that's a 3+. And here we go. He did not make the save. So There is 2 damage from ferocity, so Abaddon has gone from 9 wounds down to 7. So we're going to head back over and see that on the other camera. So pretty good shoot phase there from Helbrecht. He didn't get both shots off, but he was able to wound Abaddon. Abaddon as well, starting with 9 wounds. I should have maybe put him in the heavyweight, but there's some, guys here that can deal enough damage to take him out. So I thought this would be a better starting point. Also, High Marshall Helbrecht and the Black Templar do not have a new codex out. So I'm using their original stuff on the application there from Games Workshop for 10th edition. So it's very possible that he's going to be buffed out. He starts with 5 wounds right now. And, in future, I'm not going to say that he's going to have 6. But as a character that's kind of, I don't know, he's like a chapter master, but for the Black Templar. So 6 wounds would probably suit him. And also toughness might change, stuff like that. So we'll see what the new rules have, but we're currently using the 10th edition that's available to us. So Abaddon has all of his brand new rules from 10th edition, and Helbrecht does not. So very cool, though, that Helbrecht was able to deal some damage there, definitely 2 damage. It is going back over to Abaddon now, though. So Abaddon wants to close up that range. So he's going to be moving up 5 inches now that Helbrecht's in the open. And he does have more shots with the Talon of Horus. So just to show you guys the 24 again. So Helbrecht is definitely in range, definitely in line of sight. So it's going to be moving back over to the dice tray here for Abaddon's shoot. Okay, so here is Abaddon's first ranged attack with Talon of Horus. It's 24 inches, 4 attacks hitting on 2+. And 1 fell off. Not great rolls there. It's not twin linked either. There's no special abilities that let him roll again. It is a strength 5 weapon versus toughness 4. Again, I think Helbrecht might get a toughness 5 in the new codex, but we'll see what happens. So this is a 3 to wound currently. And not a great roll from Abaddon. So he got 1 wound through, and then a 1 and a 2 were rolled. So it is a -1 to AP, which has Helbrecht go from his 2+ save to a 3+ save. And it is going to be 2 damage if he doesn't save this. So let's see. We're hoping for a 3+. And he got it. So High Marshall Helbrecht has weathered that fire, and he is still coming at Abaddon. Might do another move here. We'll see what's going on the other camera. So the Emperor is definitely protecting here. Helbrecht did not take any damage there from Abaddon. He's going to be closing that gap. I want to definitely stay away to make sure that I'm not in range of Abaddon getting in there with his sword and the Talon of Horus. So I'm actually going to just heal him. I'm not going to move him his full 6. I want to keep some range here. And this way as well, he can actually hide behind this cover if he has to in the next turn. So Abaddon with his 5 inches after next turn is going to be here. And then Helbrecht's going to have a little bit of room where he can move around if he needs to make sure that he tries to avoid that hand-to-hand combat. So we are going to be firing with ferocity again. So we have the 24 inches right here, definitely in range, definitely in line of sight. So back over the dice tray, and let's see how Helbrecht does, if he can peel another couple wounds off of Abaddon. Okay, so here we are. This is High Marshall Helbrecht's second ranged attack. It's with ferocity, 2 attacks hitting on 2+. Both are through, amazing. Strength 5, toughness 5, wounding on 4. So 1 through again. It is a -1 to AP, so Abaddon has a 3+ save. And he's failed it again. Holy crap. So High Marshall Helbrecht has brought Abaddon down from 7 wounds to 5 wounds. They're at the same wounds now. This is pretty crazy. Wow. So Helbrecht has brought Abaddon down to 5 wounds from his initial 9. Ferocity, not incredible, but I've been rolling very well with Helbrecht, and Abaddon has not been getting the rolls so far. So the saves on his part have not been happening, and that damage is getting picked away slowly. So we're back over to Abaddon here. He is going to have to close this space here because he is that beast in hand-to-hand combat. But we are going to shoot with him too while he's closing up that range. So that's 5 inches, and I'm just going to see how far Helbrecht is now to make sure that I can keep that range if that's what I want to do. Seems to be working well for him. I know we want to see some hand-to-hand combat, but we're trying to defeat Abaddon here. So this is what I'm going to be doing with Helbrecht. So anyways, it's going back over to Abaddon here for his shoot, and we're going to see if Helbrecht can weather some more of that fire, and if the Emperor of Mankind can continue to protect him. Okay, so here we go. This is Abaddon's second ranged attack. It is the Talon of Horus. 4 attacks, hitting on 2+. Another not great roll. So 1 fell off. He got a 4, 2, and 6. I'm hoping you guys can see that. I think so. It is a strength 5 versus toughness 4, so this is 3s to wound. Another one fell off. Great for Helbrecht, not so great for Abaddon. It is a -1 to AP, so Helbrecht is up to a 3+ save. And he's made both again. So, wow. This is definitely going in Helbrecht's favor right now. We'll see what this next turn has to offer. So the craziness continues here. Helbrecht has weathered more fire for the Talon of Horus. It's a 10,000+ year old Talon. Maybe it's the old school bolt guns on the top of it, or storm bolter. They're just like not as strong as the new ones, so he's having trouble with that. So Helbrecht is moved. I'm just keeping in line of sight here, keeping Abaddon at bay. It's 5 inches, comes to about here for Abaddon. So it's weird. I call him Abaddon sometimes, Abaddon. I think it's Abaddon, but sometimes you'll hear me slip and say Abaddon. Apologies if you guys are hardcore like Chaos Undivided fans. So we have moved with Helbrecht. And once again, he's going to be firing with ferocity. So over to the dice camera to see what happens there. And maybe he can continue to chip wounds away from Abaddon. All right, back to Helbrecht here with ferocity for his next ranged attack. He's been able to do some great damage so far to Abaddon and has him at 5 wounds. Let's see if he can do some more. 2+, both are through this time. That's fantastic. Strength 5, toughness 5, 4s to wound. 1 fell off, 1 is through. -1 to AP. Abaddon needs a 3+ save here, and he got his 3 this time, so nothing happened. This is maybe when it's going to start to switch around. We'll see, but yeah, Helbrecht's still holding his own. Just noticed that Helbrecht's dice was a 6. I had to flip that back over to 5. I think I hit it when I moved him. So that time he wasn't able to do any damage to Abaddon in ranged. I don't want to call this the TSN turning point, but we're going to see what happens here. This is maybe when Abaddon is going to start to turn it around. It's going back over to him, and no extra damage was done there. So we are going to close this gap here with Abaddon. It's going to be 5 inches, and as he's running towards Helbrecht, he's just blasting away at him with the Talon of Horus. And I think I'm going to be doing some hand-to-hand here in a sec, but that's next turn. So we are going to go back to the dice camera and see what Abaddon does with the Talon of Horus in his next ranged attack. Okay, so the gap is closing up here. Abaddon is going to be firing again at Helbrecht to kind of soften him up here for possible hand-to-hand combat. So this is the Talon of Horus, 4 attacks, 2+ to hit. Yep. TSN turning point indeed. 3, 3, 4, 4, all are through. It is going to be 3s to wound. Wow, okay, maybe not the TSN turning point. So 3 have fallen off. That had to be 3s to wound. So we have 1, 1, 2. 1 is through. It is -1 to AP, so High Marshall Helbrecht has to make a 3+ save. He has made his save, so Helbrecht is still fighting. And we're going to move back to their camera, and I think I'm going to try to take the initiative here in some hand-to-hand combat and see if that luck continues for Helbrecht. So Abaddon did get a couple shots off there. 1 went through. Abaddon has not been rolling well. That's me who's rolling for him, but this is the luck of the fight. So Helbrecht was able to save, and he still has his full 5 wounds. Abaddon, who started with 9, is now down to 5. And Helbrecht has had enough. Let's see if he can actually take him out with some hand-to-hand combat here. See if that luck is going to continue and if the Emperor is there to help him out. So Helbrecht pretty much has to kill him here, I would say, or Abaddon is going to wound Helbrecht brutally or probably kill him. So you guys at home might be saying not the best move, keep shooting at him, but I don't want that to happen. I want to see the High Marshal of the Templar, Black Templar, fight a War Master of Chaos. So here we go. It reminds me of Sigismund versus, anyone that he fought. So let's see how it goes. Over to the dice tray. All right, so this is High Marshall Helbrecht with the initiative against Abaddon in hand-to-hand combat. The sword of the High Marshals, which is the sword that is carried by Helbrecht, has two different profiles, so you have to pick which one you want to use. The first is one-handed, so that's 12 attacks, hitting on 2+ with a strength 6, -3 to AP, and a damage of 1. Really, really good. There is the two-handed, which is him getting up on that hilt and getting all of his, superhuman strength behind his slices. It is 6 attacks, hitting on 2+, strength 8, and then -3 to AP and 3 damage. So, 8 against like a greater demon or a tank or something would be a good idea. I would need to roll 3s here regardless. So there's going to be the same armor penetration, less damage. So if I don't roll great with the 12, it means that whatever makes it through is going to be 1 damage per. But I'm going to go for that. So I'm going to use the one-handed profile against Abaddon. Just making sure I got 12 dice here. 6, 8, yeah. So this is the sword of the High Marshals, one-handed, 12 attacks, hitting on 2+ at strength 6. This might be it. Let's see if he can fell Abaddon the Despoiler. Wow. Every single one is a hit. So that is 12 through out of 12. The lowest roll there was a 2, which is what Helbrecht needs. It is a strength 6 versus toughness 5. So this is wounding on 3s. That one wasn't as good. I shouldn't have talked it up as much. So a lot fell off there, but if this had been the one-handed or the two-handed profile, I probably would have lost a lot more. So that's good that we did that. It is -3 to AP, but Abaddon has his 4+, and it's going to be 1 damage per. So this is when I'm thinking the two-handed probably would have helped, but we'll see what happens here. So it's going to be 4+ from Abaddon. And he has not saved any. Okay. So it's 3 damage, which isn't amazing, but that's definitely softened Abaddon up more. So he has gone from 5 wounds down to 2 wounds, which is incredible. I never thought anyone would be able to do this to Abaddon. The big thing is it now goes back over to Abaddon for his move. So good luck, Helbrecht. Let's see what happens. Absolutely fantastic round by Helbrecht. It was kind of a gamble there. I either had tons more attacks with a bit less strength, less damage. I think I made the right call because a lot of the wound rolls didn't end up in his favor, so I might have lost all of those if I'd only gone with the 6 attacks as opposed to the 12. And Helbrecht has wounded Abaddon severely, so he's down to 2 wounds. Helbrecht still has his full 5, but now it goes back over to Abaddon for his counterattack. And this is not good for Helbrecht. So Helbrecht's going to have to keep rolling super lucky, and I'm going to have to see if Abaddon's luck is changing, as if he gets some good dice rolls here, it's going to be lights out. So we'll do that in the dice tray here, and we'll see if Helbrecht continues to fight or if Abaddon takes him out during this turn. So here it is. This is back over to Abaddon the Despoiler for his counterattack. Helbrecht has delivered more wounds to him. He's down to 2, but now this is the crazy part. Abaddon has 2 melee attacks. So the first is Drachnien, his demon sword, at strength 14 with a -4 to AP. Helbrecht does have an invulnerable save, but that's a hell of a lot of attacks. And then if that doesn't finish him off, it moves over to the Talon of Horus that has 14 attacks. So this is going to be the Drachnien Demon Sword. It is 8 attacks, hitting on 2+. I also hope I'm saying that right. Drachnien? It looks like it. Drachnien, I guess so, yeah. So 2+, 1 fell off this time. Not great. So it's strength 14 versus toughness 4. 2s to wound here. These are through, so we're going to see what happens here. Helbrecht needs 4+ saves. If not, it's 3 damage per. And 2 of those that are not saved would finish him off. So we're really hoping for 4+s here. Let's see if the Emperor is still on his side. Here it is. Nope, he's done. So just like that, Abaddon was on the ropes. Helbrecht was able to save 1, but there is 3, 6, 9 damage, which has killed High Marshall Helbrecht. He put up a hell of a fight. Going to go back to the other camera and just sum this one up, but it was a really, really good try. And that is the end of fight 2, round 2. Abaddon the Despoiler has come away as the victor, so he has finished off High Marshall Helbrecht. I really thought there for a sec Helbrecht was going to take it. I think I maybe should have done the two-handed attack just to get a higher AP, but Abaddon has an invulnerable save. I think some of those attacks may have fallen off, and then the wounds would have also fallen off, so it might not have got anything through. Very impressive though. I'm kind of surprised. I thought Helbrecht would go down quickly, and he did not. He was able to do a lot of damage to Abaddon, which gives me hope that Marneus Calgar, who is going to be taking on Abaddon in the next turn, next fight in round 3, has a chance. So in the lore of 40K, Abaddon actually does away with Calgar, so we're going to see if that's going to play true here. But we'll see how that goes. We still have 2 fights left in round 2. That is Azrael versus the Orc Warboss in Mega Armor, and Karn the Betrayer versus the Gene Stealer Abominant. So we're going to get Azrael and the Warboss up here in just a sec. But fight number 2 of round 2 has gone to Abaddon the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos. But Helbrecht put up one hell of a fight.